Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today I'm going to depart from some of my normal stuff, which is, trying to be educational around kind of your business plans, etc. I'm going to go a little bit more in terms of lifestyle, something that might be useful to you. I'm going to share my top 5 countries in the world to visit. Basically, the way that I would describe it is if I could only visit 5 countries in the world, where would I go? What would I advise to people? This is based on, having traveled to quite a few places myself. And so I hope it's helpful and interesting for you. Aside from that, if you click the subscribe button and the notification bell on our channel, I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat, or not the chat, the comments section there. If you like the video, like it. And if you're interested at all in places to move, so residencies, citizenships, giving yourself flexibility, international banking, reducing your taxes, asset protection, international investing, setting up business, doing business internationally, you can book a call with me, clarity.fm/Michael Rosmer, or visit our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com. All right, let's dive in. So basically, I love to travel. I think that travel is one of the greatest things. It's been one of the things that has driven me nuts the most with Corona this year. To give you some idea, over the last 2 years prior to Corona, I visited 33 new countries, my wife and I, and visited more than that weren't new. So that was really cool. We were pretty happy about that. And, so this year we visited no new countries. It's really bad. It's really, really horrible. I don't feel great about it at all. We have managed to visit a few countries at least, but not new countries. So anyway, that's, a lamentation that I have for the year. But it has caused me to reflect on, being super grateful that we traveled a lot over the last few years, and, looking forward to when we can travel more again. And so I'm going to do this video talking about, in my opinion, like the top 5 places to go. And this is kind of, I'll sometimes ask people who have traveled a lot, who are friends of mine, things like this. I'm like, hey, listen, if you could only go to 5 places, where would you go and why? And so these are my 5 places. Okay, so in no particular order, okay? But I will say that for me, these are designed to give diversity. Like, I'm a really big believer in diversity. I don't want to, I'm not going to pick 5 Caribbean islands, It's like, okay, well, they might be great. I love Bahamas, I've been to different places in the Caribbean, but, they're kind of the same, right? So I'm going to pick these ones based on diversity. And so the first one I'm going to mention, which is just a phenomenal country, I can't wait to go and spend more time there, is Japan. Japan is such a great place. If you have not been to Japan, Japan is amazing. First of all, Tokyo is top 3 in the world for food, as far as I'm concerned. I'm a big food guy, so for me, that's important. Before I went there, if you haven't been, I thought it was going to be all sushi. I was like, I'm not really enthused about eating sushi 3 meals a day. We had sushi like twice in like 3 weeks during our first trip there. So not like, they just have so much diversity that you don't know about. They have all these cakes, they've got all these desserts. I'm like, what Japanese restaurant do I go to that they have a good selection of desserts anywhere else in the world? They don't, but I go to Japan, they've just got them everywhere. They have their own types of pasta, they have their own, just foods that you haven't seen anywhere else. They've got crepes, they've got savory crepes, they've got sweet crepes, they've got, it's great, it's fantastic, I love it. The Japanese culture, amazing, everything's clean, it's safe, things work well. They've got really cool history, I like how that goes. There's obviously all this karaoke and things like this, but Japan is also unlike anywhere else in the world. Like, there's just quirky things. I remember going to this place called Robot Restaurant in Tokyo, and you're just like, wow, like, I don't even know what to say. I was just like, the whole time, like, I just could not believe like this robot restaurant place existed. It's so nuts. Massive stimulation overload, just, you've got the anime culture there. You've got, just so many things. So I've been to Kyoto, I've been to Osaka, I've been to Kobe, I've been to Tokyo. I've been to some like little village place with ryokans and things like this. And so very, very cool place to go. Highly recommended. Wonderful people. I love the Japanese people. I love their culture. They're very respectful and helpful and things like this. English is not good and easy to get by with there, but you can certainly, once you get things figured out, like their transport system is amazing. I think Japan is just a wonder. And so very fantastic place to go. If you haven't been, highly recommend it. Okay. Skipping over to, actually, let's go the other side of the other direction in terms of kind of like the place that I think is worth going, which, I don't know, maybe catches some people off guard, maybe it doesn't, is the US. I think that you have to visit the US. First of all, okay, it's like the center of the economic world. the most significant. But for me, the reason why I put the U.S. here is it's just so diverse. Like you have the Grand Canyon, amazing. You've got Hawaii, amazing. You've got things in Utah, amazing. You've got Colorado. You've got Havasu Falls in Arizona. You've got California. Like you can go to the redwoods in like the giant sequoia trees in Sequoia National Park and Kings Canyon National Park. You can go to Yosemite. You can go to like see Mount Rushmore. Like, come on, a mountain carved in the shape of people. Like, where else is this? This is amazing. It's so cool. You can go to the Badlands. You can go and visit, like Wyoming has this crazy, like these great mountains and rock climbing and things like this. Same thing with Montana. Obviously, you have places like New York City. Then you've got Washington, D.C., which is, a whole unique thing. You've got all sorts of great museums. You've got Texas, which is a completely different culture from some of these places. Like, I've been to 30, I think, of the U.S. states so far. I've spent lots of time traveling there. Oh, Las Vegas, right? Like, where is there something like Las Vegas? Macau is not like Las Vegas. It's yes, they try to copy it visually. It's nothing like it culturally. So you've got, just such diversity, whether it's to your taste. I mean, I think that it's hard to believe that somebody couldn't find something they like in the U.S. It's just so diverse. And so there's just lots of really cool stuff to see there, lots of really cool things to do there. I think that it is definitely worth visiting. I'm from Canada, and look, I mean, Canada has great mountains, there's great national parks, things like this, but they basically have those in the U.S., and then they've got a whole bunch of other things that aren't in Canada, such as the Grand Canyon, right? So to me, it's just hard to argue that that's not a top place to visit. Moving on. Let's go bounce to the other place that I think probably a lot of people don't think about it so much, but to me is, again, just like this amazingly diverse country. I think, want to live there, but as a place to visit, Turkey. Turkey is just so rich in, Istanbul I don't particularly like, actually, but at the same time, I was writing some historical fiction that was set in there, so for me to go with a tour guide and to hear about the history and understand the symbolism and things like this. Very, very cool. I mean, Istanbul was formerly Constantinople, greatest city on earth back around 1200 AD. Like phenomenally impressive center of commerce on the Silk Road, things like this. Again, I find the Turks to be a very welcoming, hospitable culture. I love Turkish food. It's great. The costs are insanely low. Like, we would go and buy a whole pizza for like $2-3. Unbelievable. It's crazy. Really, really good selection of 5-star hotels, like fantastic. It's not open, or I was looking recently to see if I could go. One of my favorite hotels in the world is called the Ajwa Hotel in Istanbul. Amazing service, very, very good. Like it a lot. But there's a lot, and you can get great hotels for great prices there. There's Cappadocia. Cappadocia is like magical. So basically, if you aren't familiar, this is this kind of desert-like hoodoos type landscape, very unique. They have these things they call the fairy chimneys. So it's a very unique landscape, and you can go and stay in these cave hotels, which are actually built into there. And then every morning they launch 150 hot air balloons, which is just like, where else can you see that? It's so incredible. You've got, they have mountains there. They have the sea that's on the Mediterranean. So you've got tropical resorts. You've got like Turkey, I forget what it's called, but anyway, there's like this really cool natural formation of these like white kind of like waterfallish things. I think it's called like Palma, or anyway, whatever. The history, places like Ephesus, things like this, like very, very interesting historically, very different. Like you get kind of that Middle Eastern side of things, but with its kind of own flavor. Turkey is a really rich, cool, wonderful place to go visit. So highly recommend it as a place, more so than Greece. Greece obviously has great stuff too, more so than any of the places on the Black Sea, more so than, a lot of the, certainly more so than Egypt, et cetera, et cetera. I think Turkey is just wonderful and rich and diverse and great. Let's go kind of back the other way, which is Maldives, okay? Maldives, if you have not been, wow. Like, Maldives is as close to a perfect tropical paradise as you can go. So, I think that it's worth going to tropical paradises. Obviously, you have Hawaii and you have Puerto Rico in the U.S. You kind of get that play off a little bit. You have, like in the southern part of Japan, you can get these. But these are not really tropical like you get in the Caribbean, like you get in Seychelles, Mauritius, places like this, Bora Bora, like the South Pacific. If you kind of like go through all of those, the best place to go is Maldives. Maldives is like just perfection. So let's talk a bit about why. Well, first of all, the beaches are just like, they're cool white sand beaches that are amazing. There's beautiful coral reefs. You can go diving and snorkeling. It's great. The water temperature is perfect. Like you could spend all day in there. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's this incredible, almost glowing blue. It's incredible. Like I've never seen anything like it. Fantastic. Then you've got the fact that the air temperature is pretty much perfect. So it's not like this scorching hot 50 degrees or something. I was there for my honeymoon, and I think it was like, 28 degrees kind of thing, like maybe around 30, very, very nice. Then every basically hotel is its own island. So unlike if you go to, Thailand or you go to Mexico or something like this, I've been to these places, but there you can have these packed beaches. You have it's not kind of secluded in the same way. You could go to some place like Cook Islands, but then, it's like kind of more abandoned, right? So I think this is just like a great balance of where you've got this 5-star service, excellent food, you can be well taken care of, assuming you're paying for a 5-star resort. I wouldn't go to Malé, which is the capital. You basically go through there all the time anyway. You fly and you land, and then from there you take a seaplane or something, which, by the way, it's worth it to take a seaplane because you look at the atolls are just like incredible from the air and things like this. But Malé is nothing special. But if you go to one of these nice atolls, these beautiful 5-star resort islands, like, wow, so good. So good. So it's just like relaxation. Now, some people say they get bored after 3 days or so. Me, I'm not somebody I think boring people are easily bored. I can keep myself entertained. I'll, spend some time writing. I'll just enjoy the water. I'll think. I'll be with myself. I could spend, a few weeks there for sure. So anyway, Maldives, it's a must-go place. And especially, the greatest argument for me of trying to motivate me to do something about something like climate change is telling me that Maldives might not exist. I'm like, whoa, that's really horrible because this is just such a beautiful place. This brings me to the last place, which is I think you have to do something in Europe, right? The European castles, history, etc. I mean, it's so significant, it's so special, it's so it's just the art, the culture, things like this. And so then the question becomes, well, where in Europe? And I think about this a lot, right? You're like, well, there's Italy. Usually my friends who have never been to Italy or have never been to Europe, I tell them Italy's a pretty good starting point because it's got, from the ancient Romans all the way up. I think it's much, offers a lot more than, say, Greece does, which basically only has kind of the ancient. They they didn't have the Renaissance and all that sort of thing. But for me, Italy would not be the one. I think that if you can go to multiple places, Italy's great. But if you're only going to go to one place in Europe, I wouldn't put it. You have places like France. Again, lots to offer in France. Incredible. Obviously the food there is great. They've got castles. That's really cool. They've got the south of France. You've got, so there's quite a bit to be said for that. You can go to Germany. Germany, I think, is less diverse, but, you get the castles and things. Something about Germany rubs me the wrong way, and I have half German ancestry, so, this is saying something. You could, go up to, obviously, UK and things like this are all great. But for me, the country that I would recommend, if you could only have one country in Europe, would be Spain. Before I visited Spain, I didn't really think of it as very diverse. I thought of it as kind of desert-like, probably a little bit more like the landscape that you would see in Marbella, Malaga, that area. But it's actually quite diverse, and they've just got really cool stuff. So to me, the thing that's so unique about it is a lot of the kind of traditional European palaces, you'll get that in Madrid, so very similar to the architecture you get, say, in Spain. In Paris. You'll get, there's castles you can get, but you also get some castles that are just totally different and bizarre. Then at the same time, you can get things like the Gaudi architecture in Barcelona. It's just incredible. It's amazing. The weather is great, so you can have the beaches and kind of that relaxed lifestyle, but there's also forests and things going on. There's, things they call the Way of Kings or something, this crazy, insane hike. I haven't done it yet, but I would like to do it. It just looks nuts. So you've got all of this. To me, it's a really rich, cool place to explore. all of these places I'm mentioning are places you could spend months exploring. Like you could probably, except for Maldives, you could spend like 3 months probably in any of them, just going around and checking them out, and you wouldn't run out of things to see or do. You could get good treatment. You could get, so I think that it's great. And so for me, that would be my top 5. I'd love to hear what your top 5 are. If you could only visit 5 countries in the world, what would those top 5 countries be? Maybe some hidden gems that are in there. I'll probably do some video on that in the future. And yeah, would love to hear what you guys select. And I will see you guys. Oh, before we go, click the subscribe button, click the like button if you like the video. Tell me, if you hate the places that I wanted to go or that I like. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.